AR-15s, according to Connecticut, are uniquely lethal and tied to mass shootings.
Okay, that one I want them to prove. When you look at the statistics, ARs are not it.
Yeah, I think it's 93% of all mass shootings are done with handguns. Less than 3% are done with some sort of what they would define as an assault weapon. Welcome to Lock and Load Podcast. My name is Josh.
And I'm Michelle.
And we talk to you about Connecticut 2A issues. I want to change it up. Today, we are talking about Grant versus Lamont. We're just going to call it that.
But the true one is Higgins now, right? It changed to Higgins?
Rovella?
No, Rovella was the one, but
it's Higgins. Yep.
Yeah.
Just the so you guys Connecticut assault weapon ban lawsuit update.
We're suing the state of Connecticut because they're stupid.
We've done a few videos on this, so if you're watching this, you've probably already hopefully know what's going on. We'll give you a quick little download, and then we'll jump into the new information. So a couple of years ago, a CCDL filed a lawsuit with the Second Amendment Foundation, and Eddie Grant is the main litigant versus Grant versus Lamont. And that has been sitting down at New Haven Superior Courthouse. This lawsuit is to overturn the assault weapon ban from Sandy Hook and the CT other ban from June of 23 under HB 6667. It was being heard. They filed an emergency injunction to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. It was denied in a 2-1 decision, and they're appealing that decision to the Supreme Court. So that's where we're at right now. Connecticut had up until the other day to file their brief, and they did. So that's what this update is. So if you're on social media, you're on Facebook, Instagram, you're probably seeing possibly, depending on, how deep dive you go into this, a lot of information from CCDL saying like Connecticut filed their brief.
Eddie Grant also puts up on a regular basis
on his
if you're friends with him.
Yep. Yeah. So it's not a Facebook page he has. It's his normal profile, but you can go friend him. Sure. He'll add anyone. And he gives updates all the time on really any gun legislative stuff.
Yeah. He's he watches. He's very good at it.
So this was, I don't know how many pages. I put this into Chat GPT because it's a lot. And I'm sure none of you are going to go and read this. So
somebody might. But it's good for us to tell you and break.
So Gun Guru has read this twice now, and I'm sure he'll have a video coming up, possibly right now. I have no idea. This week.
Soon.
He might have one up by the time this post. I don't know. But he was Tuesday, so yesterday he was going home to reread it again, and I'm like, put in a Chat GPT, get the highlights.
I've read it. I haven't done Chat GPT, whatever.
Well, that's what we're gonna go over right now. We'll explain some stuff. So Connecticut is here telling the Supreme Court to not take the case.
Yeah, that was their response. Don't take it.
That was their big response, guys. Was no, you don't have to.
There's nothing to see here.
Yeah, just move on. Like you haven't heard one of these before, so you don't need to hear this one.
Right.
That was the big breakdown.
Although nationally, they're saying that this is the best worded lawsuit that has hit the Supreme Court and gone this far.
Our good old cowboy knows how to write.
Right. So when there's
some of you will get that joke.
Well, and you also have Second Amendment Foundation that they know their shtick. They know what they're doing. So, it's funny because Connecticut says, oh, there's nothing to see here. You don't want to hear this. This is nothing new. And yet, even nationally, people in the gun industry are talking about this lawsuit, saying this is the best worded. It's very similar to several others that are sitting and actually going up the ranks and are sitting at the Supreme Court's door. And some of them are so similar that at the end of the day, we'll see where the Supreme Court goes, whether they hear ours or one of the other states, but it's going to cover everything that this one covers.
So a few points on Connecticut's defense to not hear this bill. There's no disagreement among courts. I'm going to argue that point here in a second, but they say every federal appeals court is post-Bruin has upheld the bans. The court has declined to hear every other similar case. So there's no legal conflict for the Supreme Court to resolve. And our problem here is that the Superior Court in New Haven, Connecticut here, has not heard the case. So how do you say you have disagreement among courts when a court has refused to hear it? I think is, I don't know. I feel like that's a
Well,
little
and that's what it
conflict.
comes down to. That's why it's going, why we did the injunction and went to the Supreme Court with it, because it wouldn't be heard.
They said the case is procedurally weak. They say that Connecticut's likely to win. Irreparable harm, balance of hardship favors them. Public interest favors them. They only argue, challengers only argued the merits. That alone is enough to lose. The factual record is incomplete. The challenger claims that, that AR-15s are in common use, therefore they are protected. Connecticut responds, manufacturing numbers do not equal ownership. It's interesting.
What?
So, like, they manufacture 100,000 AR-15s. They're just sitting in gun stores waiting and collecting dust. Like, yeah, we turn over inventory.
Yeah, but when we had bump stocks talked about, which go on ARs, they said there were millions in circulation.
That apparently doesn't equal ownership. They say only about 2% of Americans legally own assault rifles, assault weapons. Well, that's because in free states, we don't use those words. I swear to God, for you guys coming at me in these comments, I'm going to throw a chair at you. Okay. An assault weapon is a Connecticut general statute term. You want to cry about it? Go cry about it to your legislator. See, that's called clickbait, right? So now they're going to go and be like, assault weapon, meh, 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 meh. And I'm just going to be like, thanks for the views. It's in the clips I'm talking about, not the full video where this part will actually be shown in full. That's not going to get shown in the clip.
All of these words are made up.
There's little to no evidence that they're actually used for self-defense, and plaintiffs provide no real evidence explaining why people own them.
That's what they're saying.
Common use does not automatically protect a weapon. The Second Amendment allows bans on dangerous and unusual weapons.
No, it doesn't. But hasn't it already been proven that ARs are in
this is
common
what Connecticut
use?
is saying. It's what Connecticut, It's what Connecticut's saying.
I hope the Supreme Court takes this.
Even popular weapons can be regulated. Machine guns are once common and are now banned.
But they're
Courts
not.
look at history and tradition, not just popularity. Correct. They are not. They are banned, but the pre-bans are not banned.
Correct. But they make it sound like you can't have a machine gun. You can buy a machine gun today. Anybody can in any state.
As long as they're either safe or full auto, you can own them in Connecticut.
Yep. You're going to pay for it.
Very expensive.
But you can have it. I hear people all the time go, "Oh my God, you shot machine guns in Connecticut?" Yes. Yeah. Well, how did you get one? My friend owns them. Yeah. No, they can't have those. Yeah, they can.
In Connecticut, history supports bans on especially dangerous weapons. Connecticut points to historical bans on Bowie knives, darks, trap guns, and machine guns. I don't know what DIRKS is. Darks.
I don't either, but trap guns? Because to me it means trap. Like
that sounds like a shotgun too.
Yeah.
Hey, remember they banned the Olympic pistols.
They did.
Those are under the assault ban. So
then they said, "Oh, that was by accident."
Yeah, but we just tried to transfer one. Sidetracking here, we tried to transfer one the other day. That was a total cluster.
It's called shit show.
And no, it was a CF, and we actually ended up sending them to Blue Trails.
Because they'll use them with their. Don't they have a team over there?
Yeah, but they also know about how to transfer them because like you sign up for this program and then you can get the no, that was a mess. AR-15s, according to Connecticut, are uniquely lethal and tied to mass shootings.
Okay, that one I want them to prove. What freaking mass shooting has been done with an AR, like in popularity? You know what I mean? Like when you look at the statistics, ARs are not it.
Yeah, like 93% of all mass shootings are done with handguns.
Yeah.
And then the next category, I think it is another 4 to 5% of like long guns / like shotguns. We're talking like rifles and shotguns. And then less than 3% are done with some sort of what they would define as an assault weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, take the Tennessee Catholic school shooting. They had a Smith & Wesson 9mm handgun. And then they had a CZ Scorpion. And then they had a Kel-Tec, the rifle. It's not legal here.
Right.
All of them are 9mm. They're pistol caliber like the other two are pistol caliber carbines. Then you had a handgun. Not a That's not what AR-15 shoot.
Well, and if you
What
want to talk
AR-9
about
shoots.
well, if you want to talk about self-defense with AR, I mean, look at the one in Texas where in the church, and the guy across the street brought his AR
The NRA
over.
instructor.
Yes, I met him. I did. Yeah, I went down at the Virginia Pro 2A rally a couple of years ago. It was really cool.
Is that really big one outside there? Like,
yeah,
you went to that?
Yeah, and I had dinner with that guy the night before. Yeah, it was a really great event. We didn't get hostile or volatile either. We just protested peacefully in the true manner.
That's a VCDL. It's
yes,
like CCDL's distant cousin.
They were actually VCDL was around prior to CCDL. So CCDL, Connecticut's Citizens Defense League, was modeled after Virginia's Citizens Defense League. So they're like the mothership.
Gotcha. According to Connecticut, public interest weighs against blocking the law. Connecticut emphasized plaintiffs already own many firearms. No one showed a real urgency or actual self-defense need. The enjoining law could flood the state with weapons that can't be retrieved later, and preventing mass shootings is a legitimate concern. The last bullet point, sure, preventing mass shootings is a legitimate concern.
For anybody.
For anywhere. But these guns are illegal in, like, say, like 11 or 12 states, maybe 13 now. That means that 37 other states, the math right there, they're legal. So if they were so bad and so dangerous, you would hear about them all the time, wouldn't you? But you don't. The bottom line, according to Connecticut, is there's no split court decisions. The plaintiffs don't meet the legal standard in their opinion. The facts aren't settled. History supports regulation, and this is a bad vehicle for review.
Well, and didn't Connecticut ask for a extension again, and they were denied their extension? So that's interesting that they were denied their extension. So then they just basically put in, and a lot of that sounds like lip service. It sounds like somebody who just wrote down bullet points on what they believe, because I want to know, they say that this lawsuit isn't factual and doesn't make sense and doesn't have good standing.
You're infringing on the Second Amendment. I don't think it takes apparently it does. It does take the Supreme Court to hear this.
Absolutely. Because our judges
are left leaning,
like they're falling off the left opposite side of the cliff. They're just like hanging on. They're way over there in the woo-hoos. And, there's no way that our justice system is actually going to give us justice at this point in time. And I truly believe that across the board for anything having to do with conservative values or constitutional values. I don't think Connecticut is so far out to lunch with what our state stands for. They don't even know what democracy is, or they have no clue, and they're going against it. It's the same as to bring in national, against Trump. Whatever Trump wants, they want the opposite, even if it's good for the country and has nothing to do with political party. They've taken this huge leap. It was like, when the election happened, and I've said this before, Connecticut turned around, looked at each other, all the big leaders, and went, hold our beer. We're going to prove the rest of the country wrong. And they went down a path that's crazy.
Yeah.
And they believe this. So like that, you, me, we can sit and read that brief and read all the highlights and go, what are they talking about? But you got to realize these people believe this with everything in their being, the same as we believe in the Constitution. They believe the Constitution doesn't really play a role, that it was meant for hunting or meant for, military. They don't believe that us as U.S. citizens and legal law-abiding citizens are able to control ourselves and have these firearms. Because, my God, we're going to go out and shoot people. I don't know how I've lived this long. If that's really the concept, how have I managed to live this long and not shoot somebody? That whole thought process is crazy.
That's the government for you in general, though.
But to have a gun for me has actually kept me less volatile. It just does. It's a check for me. It makes it so I don't get into any kind of altercations or have any problems. I walk away faster being a gun owner because I know it's the laws, but on top of that, it's also the responsibility. It's if I lose my temper and I decide to reach for my gun, I can do bodily deadly damage. I don't want that to be. It's an argument. I can walk away. It keeps me in check. But that side doesn't see that at all. They think if you have a gun, you're going to shoot people.
Well, they just believe what the media in general tells them.
But they're
90% of the problem, because when you actually educate them, and if they're somewhat intelligent here, right, then I feel like any person that has actual intelligence should go and realize like, oh, wow. And some do, most don't, or most don't care, or most are just there for power aspect.
Yeah, but our legislators are the ones creating the media crap.
Yeah.
Look at
doing
Lamont.
It for politics.
Look at Tong. Look at Blumenthal Murphy. I mean,
look at Safstrom.
Yes. And so that's who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about your average Democrat. Yeah. The average Democrat may, if they are in the right state of mind, may be willing to have a conversation. We may not change their mind. We might. Same as I'm willing to have a conversation with them. They might not change my name. Probably not. But I'm willing to hear how come they feel the way they do. These guys don't want to hear it all, and they want to create more chaos to make us look worse. And I'm sitting back and I'm watching what's going on in this state, in this country, and those of us that believe in the Constitution and are considered conservatives, we don't fight back because we're just like, no, you're crazy. And what they ought to be afraid of is someday that last piece of hay is going to be the needle, and they're going to be done. And at that point in time, I mean, if we decided we wanted to do in this state, okay, we can't have these things. We can't have nice things because they're illegal, and we can't do this. And we follow the law. We are good law-abiding citizens here. We complain about it. Some of us actually fight harder to change it, but we all complain about it. But if we decided to do like they're doing with these quote unquote peaceful protests and going after law enforcement when they come after us, and we did the civil disobedience that side is doing,
but we don't.
We'd been in jail. Right.
We don't though. Like
it's
look
so
at any
lopsided
of these...
though, is what I'm getting at. It's just, and
you know what? They're better at organizing. Well, I'll say that.
I don't want to fight the way they do. I don't want to hurt people to prove my opinion and be able to be on the news and have a video of it. But on the other hand, they sit and say that they're the nice guys, when we're the ones sitting here taking it over and over and over. And I'm getting about done.
Let's go and compare like any rally that's happened in a Pro 2A aspect. There's two.
We clean up.
You had the one with the original assault weapon ban after Sandy Hook, where you had a lot of people there.
We did. I mean, compared to what we have now. Yes.
And then, I back in October of 24, was it October 24? I think so.
Yeah, it was by 667. Yeah.
I attended the open carry rally. It was the last day you could open carry.
Mm-hmm.
And like
a couple hundred
at most, utterly depressing. Now, I always like to throw in facts here. It did rain in the morning, and it was a little spitty out. So, but by no means, and when we were there, actually, it didn't rain at all. So by no means did that should have discouraged anyone, but the showing of gun owners was
pitiful,
pathetic.
Well, it's one of those things where, I hear all the time, well, I have to go to work, and I get it. A lot of times the other time they don't have jobs on the other side, or they get paid to go to these rallies, which we don't do. And I get that. But on the other hand, I can tell you my husband for about 3 years used every bit of his vacation time strictly for going to any of these rallies or going up to the Capitol protest, or to testify, to do whatever, any of these stuff that was coming up. So it's choices, and we all make choices. And I'm not saying you should put your life on hold and only do this stuff and fight because that's your only time off. I get it, guys. But you're right. And a lot of people are sick. They're sick and tired. They feel like they've beat their head against the wall. They're done fighting. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. And I've said it before over and over. If it doesn't matter and you're not going to fight, you've already given up. And if that's what you want to do, that's okay. But keep in mind, when you're complaining and witching and bitching, you already gave up. There are some people out there that are still fighting for this and still using their time and still doing everything they can, both whether it be elections, whether it be, going to the Capitol, whether it be writing to your legislators, getting to know your legislators, complaining to them on a regular basis versus Facebook. It does matter. People don't see it as much. I get it. I'm frustrated too. Believe me, I am more than frustrated. I am pissed off at this state right now. But I always put my foot where my mouth is, because at the end of the day, if I'm going to complain and whine and bitch, I can say, well, I did everything possible to fight for it too.
On two closing notes. One, the next video on this, we'll talk about the upcoming legislative session.
Yes.
And then two, I guess I'll throw congratulations out to Matt Strasser, who's now the new vice president of CCDL.
Cool.
And for this year, he's also going to stay on as the legislative coordinator until they can, I guess, find someone new.
That'll be a rough thing to do. Those are two big jobs.
That is two big jobs.
Well, good luck.
And correction from a previous video, Frank did step down as VP, but he's still on the executive committee.
Correct.
So Frank's still involved, but not as vice president. So I like to put out those specific corrections there for you.
And we'll let you know if the Supreme Court, if you haven't heard already, but we will let you know if we hear anything about the court, the lawsuit going up to the Supreme Court. I'm hoping, and Josh may come too, that if the Supreme Court does hear it, I plan on being in the courtroom. I will go down to DC and watch it in a heartbeat. So maybe we can give you some updates from being down there if it gets heard.
Yeah. Just depends on the time.
Correct.
But we're not that far from DC, which is always good too. It's like a 6-hour drive.
No, it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I've been down there for rallies too.
Or it's a 45-minute plane ride.
Yeah.
I picked that option, by the way, guys. Planes are nice.
Trains and automobiles.
Could take a train.
Can take all kinds of, yes.
So my name's Josh.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is sponsored by
Patriot Wear Holsters
and Lock and Load Firearms. And we'll see you guys next time.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Lock and Load Podcast is sponsored by Lock and Load Firearms, Connecticut's #1 rated gun store and pistol permit class on Google. Come check us out, 1573 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike in Southington. Lock and Load Firearms.
Lock and Load Podcast is also sponsored by Patriot Wear Holsters, custom-made Kydex holsters locally made in Waterbury, Connecticut. www.patriotwearholster.com and use code LNL Podcast for 10% off your purchase. Orders available for shipping or pickup at various locations.